So prophetess Deborah went along with them. And one of the things she did as she was carrying out prophecies, she activated 2 works of God's hands to fight against the opposing nation. The first one were the stars. The second one was the river, I think River Kishon. Have you read that story before? Go to Judges, the book of Judges chapter 5. In Judges chapter 5, verse 20. Look at it. Let's start from verse 19 so you can understand some things there. I want to do this quickly so we can spend at least 30 minutes and do some prayers. Now watch. The kings came and fought. Then fought the kings of Canaan in Tanakh by the waters of Megiddo, and they took no gain of money. Yes. They fought from heaven. So while the kings were fighting, some other things were fighting from heaven. What are those things? The stars in their courses fought against Sisera. Listen, they were targeted on Sisera and his troops. So every other Israelite was free. They let them go free, and they released all their forces on Sisera and their troops. And that was how Israel prevailed in the war, because the stars in their causes were fighting for them. You know what the devil did? When he took authority, authority simply means the right to demonstrate power. Power has been given. You have been given the right now to demonstrate it. That uniform of a police officer and that their badge and all those stuff gives them right to make use of their gun. Am I communicating? So there are other guys without uniform and badge. They're called armed robbers. They also use gun, but they don't have the right. So when those that have the right capture these ones, they kill them. Are we together? Are you hearing what I'm saying? So when Satan took authority from Adam, he began to reprogram all the works of God's hands. And he began to teach his own sons how to make use of these works of God's hands and program them against. Yeah, you guys have listened to American preachers too much. That you have forgotten you came from Africa. Haven't you ever heard that people went to meet Babalawo, witch doctors, and they were saying that we want you to close down the shop of our enemies. And they said, don't worry, just come very early, wait for your neighbor. And as he comes to his shop, watch his footprints. Go and collect the sand where? Why do they need the sand? Who created sand? The earth. I'm asking the question. That's the works of his hands. They want to use it against that guy. They want to program it. Don't you know why God said that anywhere the soles of your feet? In other words, as my feet touches the sand, it sanctifies it. When you carry it to your coven, it becomes an altar that swallows up your altar. If you don't understand this, the devil will just mess you up. These are the works of my Father's hands. They were created for my good. Yeah. Hey, many years ago, I went home, and one of our fathers also, I don't know what they were talking about, and he saw one person that was sick. He said he's coming. He went to the forest and came with leaves. The guy came with leaves, spoke to the leaves, did one or two things, brought fire, oil, and all those stuff, and placed it on the person. After some time, the person was okay. The guy understands the very works of God's hands. There are some certain leaves he gave power to heal certain diseases. It is your ability to understand it and harness it. There are mysteries of the time gates. 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 noon. That's why when you meet some of these witches and whatever, they'll say, go by 12 midnight and do something. Those are time gates that open the portals of the spiritual world. Any thriving religious whatever, they don't joke with at times 12 noon and different kinds of things. They know what they are doing. But we the sons, we don't have this understanding. We have listened to many American preachers. We just sit down to quote what faith is not alone. We don't know how to deploy this faith in some of these. That's why in the last days, God designed that Africa will be used by God to disciple nations, because there will be terrible obonobo demons that will be present in our time. Those revelations those other guys had will not be enough. I know what I'm talking about. So the stars in their courses fought against Sisera. I think it's Psalm 127, somewhere in verse 6, David was saying that the sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Now, when you are reading it with your little brain, you'll be thinking that when he is saying the sun will not smite you, it simply means it will not be too hot. Okay, if the sun will smite you by day, how will the moon smite you by night? Is the moon hot? There's this Igbo song that they used to sing. Awo chamo ebeneso Jesu, right? Awo chamo, oh chamo mona chaburom or whatever. So we got that thing, thinking that was what they were talking about. That's the heat of the sun. When they use the word smiting, it's talking about forces being released against you. The smiting of the moon comes in form of madness. The smiting of the moon comes in form of hormonal imbalance, hormonal changes in women. All these hormonal changes, different kinds of things, issue of blood and different kinds of things, the root cause is from the moon. Somebody programmed the moon against you. You need to find the antidote and reprogram it so that the moon will balance your hormones. Oh, you don't know that the moon has the power to balance tidal waves? Oh, I'm talking to people that don't understand their world. Anytime you hear of tsunami and all those stuff, the moon went mad. That's the best way I can use to explain it. It decided to go beyond its boundary. A program that was not programmed by God was activated. And the moon let go of its guard and the waters. When God told the sea, gave it its boundaries and limitations, it put some regulating bodies over it. They would not just tell you, don't, what do you call it again? Do money laundering and all those stuff without putting EFCC to checkmate you. So these are things God puts there to checkmate things so that certain things will not go off their course. Am I speaking words you understand, or am I going too high? Oh, glory. Knowledge is powerful. I'm trying to break it down, So, it can smite. So, if moon can smite a woman and give her hormonal imbalances and different kinds of things, it can also be the root cause of barrenness. So when David was saying the moon shall not smite, it's a prophetic action to correct the calibrations and programmings of the moon.